there are systems in place in all different industries that simply duplicate and work, and there are things that simply don't duplicate and don't work. And so depending on what your goal is, it'd be nice to hear from someone who's already been successful in reaching that exact same goal, who's willing to say, look, oh, you want to make 6 figures doing this, 6 figures in real estate, 6 figures in collabing on social media, whatever it is. Oh, I can show you how to do that. You know what I mean? Oh, is that what you want to do? Yeah, I can show you how to drop ship. Oh, I can show you how. So whatever it is, find someone who's been successful at it and learn from someone by being coachable.
If you're a go-getter, faith-driven, and family-focused, and need to break through to your next level, this is the podcast for you. Your self-talk can reshape every area of your life. It's time to dream and think big. Welcome to the Self-Talk Experience with Darnell and Tracy Self. It's time to elevate, baby. Let's get into the show.
What's up, Self-Talk Experience family? Darnell Self, normally with my co-host T-Self. But today it's just me. You'll get back to the next episode and the next episode with T-Self. You know, we should get T-Self to do it by herself. You know, put that in your comments. Like, T-Self, we want to see you by yourself one day. But it's it's Father's Day week. And I'm excited because what I'll share with you all today helped me out in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, my 50s. I believe it'll help anyone out, whether they're already massively successful or on their way to success. Whether you doubted yourself in the past or currently doubt yourself, whether you're full of courage right now and you're on your A game, or if you're at a place where you're like, man, I just cannot get things to go right for me right now in this season. Seems like every time I make a move, I feel like I end up taking 3 steps back. No matter where you are, I pray that this one helps you out the way it really benefited me in my life. So we know the self-talk experience is about saying better things to ourselves, right? Because the things we say to ourselves about ourselves eventually determines what we attract and even who we attract around us, right? So it's important to say good things, like to talk good to yourself. And I know you'd agree with this. It's rhetorical, but I'm going to say it anyway. And that is that none of us are perfect. Like, none of us, not one person is perfect. And again, I know you would agree with this. That means there's room for improvement. That means there's a blind spot somewhere in our life, right? Something that we're not seeing that's holding us back. So wouldn't it be good to have perspective from someone who's perhaps gone down the road that you're looking to travel, right? They've already traveled past where you currently are. So they could share with you, hey, look, there are some obstacles on that road and here's where they are. I know there's some blind spots, but here's how you're able to move beyond them and beyond the danger that could exist from them and still achieve all of your goals. Now, if this is the case, then how do we get that, right? How do we get to that place? Because if none of us are perfect, that means all of us can improve. And if all of us can improve, that means there's some knowledge, some education, something we're missing that can cause us to gain that level of improvement. And one of the things I found that helped me out was getting mentors or coaches in the areas that I wanted to get better. Just gaining insights in every area of my life. It's just finding someone that says, you know what, I've been there. And I can kind of share with you what that looks like. Now, believe it or not, that's not it. It's not just finding a coach who's willing to share with you insights on how to get to your next level, because each and every one of us can actually have access to a coach who can show us how to get to our next level. And sometimes it's people that we have access to. We just have not figured out the piece I'm going to share with you right now. So it's not just having access to the coach. It's being coachable when that coach shares with you what to do. Now, I'm going to share with you a little bit about coachability, because it's not just, yes, I listen. Yes, listening is a part of being coachable, but also being an active listener, meaning that someone who anticipates that I'm going to get something today that's going to help me to get to the next level. And you know folks like this, they go to the environment, they're learning from a coach, and they're excited about learning from the coach. They're leaning forward. You can tell they're all in. They're actively listening and learning. They're like, man, I know I'm going to get something today that's going to help me get to my next level. And maybe it's even you watching or listening to this podcast. You're like, look, today I expect that I'm going to get something that's going to help me to elevate. It's going to cause me to think differently, perhaps even say things differently, and then attract different things for me. If somebody else is like, it's almost like a chore or a task to listen. And you can see the difference in because you guys know I'm on tour, right? So I'm doing all of these different presentations and training sessions. My wife says, I think I'm Usher because I'm on tour. Listen, multiple stops, tour. Remember, I said it. Don't worry about what she says when she comes back. But my point is this. I can see two different type of people in the audience. Somebody's in the audience and they're like, you can tell they came, they need it, they want it, and yet they expect they're going to get something. Somebody else, they know they need it, but the ego won't allow them to position themselves to show other people that, man, I really need this. So the energy's off. So coachability means that you're open. I'm open. I'm open for your feedback. I'm open for instruction, even if I disagree with it, right? Because if you've done it and I haven't, and yet I'm disagreeing with your strategy, your philosophy, but yet you know something I don't know. You've achieved something I haven't achieved. Then it would be helpful if I said, you know what? Let me at least be open to doing it your way. Let me be open to taking your recommendation, your suggestions, because you've been successful with this and I haven't. I'll give you an example. I was in Africa and it was a wonderful time in Africa. I had a chance to meet with business owners in Nairobi, those who own tea farms and coffee farms, really nice. And we even went on the Great Migration, right? Watching animals migrate from Kenya to Tanzania. So on a safari, that was unbelievable, really amazing experience that I would recommend everybody do at some point in their life. But then we met a gentleman from South Africa, and he says, hey, have you guys ever gone to the island of Mfumgamo? And I was like, no, never even heard of Mfumgamo. And he was like, oh, it's a small island on the second largest lake in the world, Lake Victoria. And normally celebrities go there. And because there's only like fishermen, local people there, so no one even notice you. And I'm like, well, I'm a celebrity. I'm like Usher. So, I should I should go to the island. So I'm joking, but he's like, yeah, you should go to the island. He's like, I fly. I'm a pilot. You could take you over there. I'm like, cool. What I did not know was that the plane would be so small, I had to step on the wing to get to my seat. No joke. So if you got the pilot, me, a person behind the pilot, and a person behind me. So a person behind me, person behind the pilot, me, the pilot. That's it, 4 of us. And so we go up in the air, and I'm not afraid of flying, but I've not been on a plane this small. So we get up in the air, and while we're up there for maybe, 10 minutes or so, he's like, hey, you want to fly? I'm like, yeah. No, I don't even remember his name, and I don't know if he would get in trouble by me saying this, that he let me fly. So he can't get in trouble because I don't remember his name. So don't try to tell on him. So he's like, you want to fly? I'm like, sure. Now he has controls in front of him. I have controls in front of me. So I'm sure at some point he could probably take over. But he's telling me what to do. Pull back here, press this, do this. So I'm doing all this stuff, right? For maybe 3 minutes, but it felt like forever. As I'm flying, I'm looking, I'm like, oh my gosh, so I'm about to age myself. So I told my buddy, I was like, pull out the camcorder. If you're a millennial, Google that. It's camcorders. You didn't have phones, you have flip phones. So it's when you press record and play at the same time and they record something. Anyway, so I said, pull out the camcorder. Check this out. I've been flying for a few minutes when he said, hey, look, I'm going to take back over. We're about to land. I'm like, already? He's like, yeah. So I look at the landing strip, and I lied to you not. It was like the length of a football field. And I'm thinking, no way are we actually going to land and then stop before we end up in Lake Victoria. Like, that's not going to happen with this little short landing strip. So I'm thinking this to myself. I didn't say it out loud. And we're going down fast. Faster than I think we should be going in order to stop. And because I teach coachability, I know not to tell this man who already told me he'd been flying for 2 decades, he's going too fast to land. But guys, listen, I could not hold it. This isn't like teaching you skills on how to succeed in your business. This is my life. So I'm like, look, coachability thing's going out the door for this one because I got to say something to my man because we're getting too low, going too fast, and we're not going to land and be able to stop on this just short landing strip. So long story short, we're going down and we're like close to the landing strip, and I couldn't hold it. So I hit him right on his shoulder. I'm like, bruh, you're going too fast, man, to land. Here I am, like the 2-minute man, right? Don't ever say you're a 2-minute man, but you know what I mean. The guy who's been flying for 2 to 3 minutes, I'm telling my man who's been flying for 2 decades, he's going too fast. Here's what he did when I said, bro, man, you're going too fast to land. He did like this. If you're a parent, you know that finger, and it was like he didn't even have to say, don't talk. I was like, I didn't say anything. So we go down, maybe, I don't know, like 50 feet below the ground, which, feels like it's really close, and at a fast speed. And then he comes right back up. And then he turns, and then he hit me and he says, just tapped my shoulder. He says, look. And I look down and he says, see all the animals? And I saw all these animals running off the landing strip. He said, the first time, it's not my intention to land. We only go down to scare the animals at a fast speed so that the engines of the airplane will make them run off the landing strip. And then we come back the second time with the intention to land. I was like, oh, because I didn't know. This is my point. You don't know what you don't know. And this is what happens. Ego gets us in a place where we feel like we can tell someone who's already been successful at what it is that we've not been doing for a long time, if at all. And we have no proof, no documentation, no fruit coming from this vine, but yet we're going to tell somebody else, I think, we should probably do it this way. I get that all the time. People are like, yeah, I hear you, man, but, my thoughts are, and I'm like, I want to say, dude, you have not been successful at all in this space. And so your ideas may be great in a different space where you've had success, but you might want to try a proven system here. And don't get me wrong, technology changes. All these advancements happen. So there's nothing wrong with creativity. You're on a 4-lane highway. There's nothing wrong with getting to the destination in a different lane, meaning that some people go fast, some people go slow. Some people do things slightly different. Nothing wrong with that. But there are systems in place in all different industries that simply duplicate and work, and there are things that simply don't duplicate and don't work. And so depending on what your goal is, it'd be nice to hear from someone who's already been successful in reaching that exact same goal, who's willing to say, look, you want to make 6 figures doing this, 6 figures in real estate, 6 figures in collabing on social media, whatever it is. I can show you how to do that. You know what I mean? Oh, is that what you want to do? Yeah, I can show you how to drop ship. I can show you how. So whatever it is, find someone who's been successful at it and learn from someone by being coachable. Being coachable, you're open, being coachable, actively listening and learning. You got to be focused for that. So if you're buying a course, if you're having sessions with a mentor, that session is straight focus on whatever the mentor can share with you from where you are and what your next steps are. So the coach should be asking you questions like, hey, so where are you right now? Okay, and where would you like to go? Okay, based on where you are and where you like to go, here's your first step. Here's your first few steps. I need you to check this out first. I need you to read this first. I need you to take the steps and then get back with me. And then if you're not doing everything exactly how that coach shared with you the first time, they'll give you feedback. And again, now you got to be open to the feedback and not be offended by the feedback, because knowing that your coach wants what's best for you. So otherwise, you shouldn't have the coach. If you feel like this coach is condescending, if you feel like this coach doesn't want to see you successful for whatever reason, then this is not the right coach. So find the right coach and be coachable with the coach. So there's 2 things here. 1, finding someone who you admire, someone who's achieved the goal, someone who you like to be led by. Number 2, you being coachable. So it takes a teacher and a student here. So it's not just a teacher. And I thought I'd share that with you because in every stage of my life, again, different ages, different things that I've done, I've always had to get to my next level. And I know that I'm not the only one that's reached a performance plateau. And you're at a place, you're like, man, I hit this. And I just can't seem to get above that. Some folks do it at 6 figures. Some folks do it at 7 figures. Some folks do it at, a couple of $1,000s a month. Or it could be a fitness goal. And some people hit a certain fitness and they just can't get beyond that. All different things that we do, right? And we just feel like it's a plateau and we're not moving beyond that. We didn't really have any momentum beyond this particular place. It just means that we got to seek out coaches. Or perhaps we look within and we just haven't been the best student lately. And that's a big one right there. That's what I had to look in. That's where I had to look inwardly and say, have I been the best student? Have I followed the instructions to a T? If the coach say, hey, I need you to do this, but you got to be consistent with it. If I've been inconsistent, I can't blame the coach. I can't blame the activity and say, well, the activity just doesn't work for me. Knowing I've been inconsistent with the activity that the coach recommended for me. That was on me. The coach said what to do. The activity was the right activity. I just didn't do it consistently for 6 weeks. Did it for 2 weeks. I didn't see the results, so I stopped. Did it for 3 weeks, but I did it every other day, and they told me to do it 6 days a week. So coachability is going to be key for you. So I want you to make sure that if you want to go to the next level, that you make the decision that I'm going to, one, be ready. I have to be the best student. And when the student appears, that's when you'll learn the most. A lot of us got a bunch of different teachers out here. And we've tried all these different things with different coaches. Like, I just keep changing my coaches. I didn't like that coach. I didn't like that coach. It's something called the Bob principle. And that means if Bob has a problem with everybody, sometimes Bob might be the problem. So we got to look inwardly and say, you know what? Maybe it's me. And so I'd ask that you do that. I've had to do that. I still do that, by the way. And again, I mentioned it earlier, so I'll say it. The ego is the thing that holds us back most in that case, because we feel like, oh, I've already done this. Or I've been here for a long time. You've been here for a long time, but you haven't done what it is that you set out to do 10 years ago. So don't let the ego get in the way. Say, I've been doing this for 10 years. You've been doing it for 10 years, but still haven't reached the levels that you'd like to. Okay. Or I've had a lot of success. Let me share this with you. Last story, and I'm going to end this episode. See, I get myself in trouble when there's not someone here to keep me out of trouble. Well, Janelle's behind the camera, but she's not willing to jump in front of the camera right now to stop me from getting myself in trouble. So as long as she's behind the camera, I still get myself in trouble. One day she'll step in front of the camera. But check this out. I'm going to use, this is going to be a nameless person. So I'm going to say John, just because the real person may be watching. But the guy's like, hey, look, all this sounds good. I was talking to him about an opportunity, and he's like, all this sounds good, but right now, I've got a lot of international business going on, so I just don't know if this would be a fit. I said, no, I can appreciate that. I respect that. And I said, what about your domestic business? If you got 80%, because you had 80% international business. I said, because the opportunity I was sharing with him would have to be here in the U.S. where I live. So I said, what about the 20% of the relationships, business relationships that you built here? And he was like, oh, no, wouldn't be able to touch that either because, and there was some other long reason that he couldn't do it. So he goes on to say, because just one of my transactions, had $1 million deposited in my account. I had this going on and that going on. And I was able to get this contract and millions in this contract. And, he was just talking big. And I'm like, hey, look, and I was so excited for him. I was like, dude, congratulations, man. Like, that's a big deal. Congratulations on all your success, man. If there's any way we could work together and partner together, be happy to do that, man. Anything I can do to help out, certainly please let me know. I don't do a lot of international business, but be happy to be an asset if I can. I love to see people succeeding like that. And so I'm going on and on. And so he's like, yeah, I would. But again, all this stuff is happening right now with me. I just don't want to lose momentum and all my businesses. I said, got it, man. Hey, maybe the future, we can reconnect. I only say this to say, maybe 15 minutes later, a young lady who introduced him to me came back and she was like, hey, Mr. Self, I apologize that, the gentleman I introduced you to seemed to be rambling a lot about his other businesses because quite honestly, he owes me $40 right now. And I thought to myself, that is the average person. It's not my man. I mean, I know maybe he, felt like he needed to say those things to me. But because I've been around a lot of successful people, and many of you have too, I'm sure, you already know when people are talking. In some cases, things they say, you already know that it's an exaggeration. They don't realize what you know because they haven't been told sometimes the level of success that you've achieved. So they don't realize that you coach people from saying some of the things that he said because of the lack of success that it shows, it exudes. Because all my friends who have a lot of success don't need to talk about all the success they have. This is what I'm trying to say. It's like those who carry real designer bags know what the fake ones look like. Now, if you don't buy real ones, you may not know. But if you buy the real ones, you know. So you don't. The person don't have to say, "Oh no, this is you like my new." Oh, I already know. That's what I'm saying. It's the same thing. Now, look, and that's fine. If you're like, "Hey, look, I don't really care if you know." And this is what I'm saying about being coachable, guys. So if you the first thing you got to do is say, you know what? I'm going to lower my ego and put myself in a place to realize I am where I am. And that is not where my coach is. My coach has already been here, and my coach wants to see me win. So there's no need to fake it with my coach, because my coach can't help me to get to the next level if I'm pretending like I'm already at the level. I can't do anything for you. That's what blessed me, guys. I'm like, hey, listen, I'm open. I'm an open canvas. And I want to be there for my family. I want my family to have more. I want to be more so that I can attract more. And I can't do that fronting. I can't do that faking. This wasn't the best year for me, and I want next year to be better. Can you help me to get there? Coach, like, I got you. It's what I need you to do. You can do it, guys. We all can do it. And this doesn't make me better than anybody else. I have coaches too. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole in a lot of my circles. And I like that. I like that. And I don't try to pretend like I'm at the top around them, because they know. I live in one location. They live in 3 locations. I can't fake that. Yeah, because I got a house in. No, I don't. I live in Maryland. That's it. So I appreciate you guys. I do, because I hope and I pray that you are at the same place that I put myself in every year. And that is, let me find a group that's surpassed me in most areas, so that being around them causes me to learn things because of coachability to get to their level. It's been another self-talk experience. Remember, the things we say to ourselves about ourselves eventually will determine what we attract for ourselves. And if Tracy Self were here, she would say, and stay coachable. You want to take your life to the next level.